Formula One is frequently lauded for its capacity for innovation. Although not all advancements are geared toward enhancing racing, some are intended to disrupt competitors during races. The latter issue is what the FIA is currently striving to rectify. Presently, the FIA is taking a decisive stance against flexible wings on Formula One cars. For years, the issue of flexi wings has been a contentious subject for the governing body. Teams are in constant pursuit of ways to exploit this area due to the inherent lack of absolute rigidity, leading to perpetual maneuvering around definitions of non-flexibility. Unfortunately, some teams have pushed the limits to an extent that has prompted the FIA to impose bans on certain components. The ongoing saga of lenient flexi-wing rules and upgrades has been a recurring theme in Formula One, with teams seeking loopholes in regulations to introduce flexibility in both front and rear wing parts. With the FIA now demonstrating a more forceful approach, driven by apparent concerns of rule violations, the landscape is evolving. There are substantial benefits to be derived from achieving reduced drag at high speeds while simultaneously maintaining essential downforce and directing aerodynamically efficient wing outwash. The FIA is resolute in preserving control over this aspect, as the primary intention behind the 2022 regulations was to ensure cleaner wake characteristics for vehicles. As a result of observations across multiple cars, the FIA has circulated a preliminary proposal to all Formula One teams, outlining a fresh technical regulation aimed at reinforcing oversight of wing flexibility on F1 cars. Throughout the 2023 season, discussions about the pliancy of front wings have persisted, driven by the FIA's desire to uphold the spirit of the regulations. The primary objective of enabling easier car following in Formula One's new era remains a central focus. Continuous scrutiny of deflection attributes in aerodynamic assemblies is ongoing to guarantee adherence to technical regulations, as outlined in Article 3.20.2. This evaluation entails not only the deflection test criteria specified in Article 3.15 but also ad hoc assessments that may extend beyond standard expectations. These additional evaluations might lead to clarifications concerning the interpretation of regulations. In response to observations across multiple cars, the FIA has introduced draft technical directives addressing bodywork flexibility. These directives are intended to ensure a shared comprehension of regulatory interpretation between the FIA and the teams. Article 3.20.2 of the technical regulations is devoted to addressing aerodynamic impact. It dictates that all components influencing the car's aerodynamic performance must be securely affixed and immobile relative to their frame of reference. Additionally, these components must consistently maintain a solid, rigid, continuous, and impervious surface under all conditions. Devices or structures designed to bridge the gap between the car's sprung portion and the ground are unequivocally prohibited. But what motivates teams to seek flexible wings? The reason is straightforward: to induce greater turbulence in the car's wake. Disrupting airflow makes the wake of the following cars more turbulent, which complicates matters for rivals. Methods of incorporating these wings have been exhaustively explored, but the FIA's focus has now shifted to the internal structures of front wings. Consequently, a proposed rule change has emerged. It's customary for the FIA to share these proposals with teams, with the expectation that new technical guidelines will be implemented during the upcoming mid-season weeks, likely debuting at the Singapore Grand Prix. The revisions predominantly entail tightening existing oversight mechanisms rather than a revolutionary overhaul. Teams were informed of these regulations ahead of the Dutch Grand Prix, instigating a race against time to ensure conformity regarding front and rear wing designs. This development comes shortly after Herbie Blash, the FIA's senior race director advisor, expressed ongoing concerns regarding flexi wings and the propensity for exploiting regulatory ambiguities in Formula One. The focus has specifically centered around the flexibility of wing elements, given the visible movements observed during races. Following the Italian Grand Prix, Formula One teams are expected to confront intensified scrutiny over flexi wings. The FIA is taking measures to counter perceived violations. Throughout the initial half of the season, the FIA has been closely monitoring flexible wing behavior, detecting instances where teams seem to be stretching the limits of legality. Proposed adjustments are applicable to any team utilizing designs deemed inappropriate by the FIA. While Aston Martin maintained that its front wing changes were unrelated to flexing concerns, the FIA has introduced a comprehensive technical guideline outlining prescribed designs for flexible bodywork, addressing the use of localized compliance and relative motion between components to enhance aerodynamic performance. The FIA asserts that any design operating in this manner contravenes Article 3.20.2 of F1's technical regulations. The FIA has pinpointed 4 design characteristics that it considers violations, although it acknowledges that more concepts may also be forbidden. These include wing elements capable of translational or rotational motion relative to bodywork, utilization of elastic compliance sections, and designs featuring soft trailing edges. The FIA's new approach mandates teams to provide assembly drawings and cross-sections depicting the attachment of wing components to the car. The aim is to gain insight into the construction of these elements and whether any teams are exploiting these designs for aerodynamic gain. Implementation of the new stance is slated for the Singapore Grand Prix, with teams required to submit relevant drawings by September 8 for FIA review. In essence, despite the seemingly minor nature of these technical details, their impact on racing dynamics remains uncertain. Flexible wings have stirred debates and disagreements, and the FIA's efforts to address these issues reflect an ongoing endeavor to uphold the integrity of the sport and maintain a level playing field. I'm eager to hear your thoughts and perspectives. Please share them in the comments section below. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel for notifications on our future uploads, ensuring you stay informed about the developments in the 2023 Formula One season.